Guwahati High Court Bar Association Hcba laka Kohima bench pra August 26 day Hcba laka bar room Kohima day Chief Justice Ashutosh Kumar ke swagat kuribole ekta reception program korise. Program day bar members, judicial officers aro dignitaries kan pra attend korise. Hcba pra Guwahati High Court day Nagaland pra khali ekta judge thakya upor highlight kurikina state pra qualified advocates aro officers laga representation upor anurodh korise. Association pra Chief Justice ke visit kuria nimite dhanyawad tisharo Nagaland day justice deliver kurule masbut kurule support assure kurise.
I was amazed to see this High Court, even though it is housed in a very small building and which may have outlived its utility, but then the setting is so picturesque that I was left very, very impressed. And I don't agree with Mr. Jamil that Nagaland only has natural resources to feast upon. It has many other things also, the traditions, deeply embedded traditions, their own system of justicing and many other aspects of life which you don't find elsewhere. So if I remember correctly, as was the apprehension of Mr. Jamil that I might forget if many agendas are put before me, I would like to assure you that I am conscious of all this. But before I address you on that, let me tell you one thing. It's about me. I have always felt as a lawyer, I have practiced for 23 years in Patna High Court. That's the capital of Bihar. And I have been on the bench for about 11 and a half years. I was acting Chief Justice in Patna High Court also. In this capacity as a lawyer, as a judge, as a new judge, then as a senior judge, an acting Chief Justice and Chief Justice, I have found one aspect which I want to share with you. A Chief Justice cannot make a High Court, but he has the potential and the capacity to destroy a High Court. I would definitely eschew from falling in that category. The measure of the strength of a court is equivalent to, and it is very akin to, the measure of the strength of the bar. See, unless the bar comes up to the expectation of the bench will not perform. You lawyers here in Nagaland, you have a special responsibility. It is not only argument of cases, but preservation of the traditions as well. And as all of us are aware of this, see, there are countries in the world where these tribal regulations have the constitutional approval. Constitutional, I mean, by practice, by precedent, they have attained the status of law, and it is respected more than the statutory law. I'll tell you, I don't remember the name of the countries, but I was told that in some of the countries where these rules, the local rules, which is administered by local councils, like you have your village councils, they are really important to be understood, very necessary to be respected, and to be followed diligently. See, in one of these countries, I clearly remember, they say that when a village council or a local council decides a case, it doesn't declare the winner. It's not a question of winning or losing. They declare it as a day where there is a feast of reconciliation. The idea of justicing in these local, system of justice delivery system is to heal, is to reconcile, and not hold the stronger party the winner. So I presume that you also have your village councils, you also have great respect for the elders who decide cases. That's one aspect of the matter. It has to be in consonance and in conformity with the constitutional provisions, with the law of the land. But then that also has to be respected. In this context, I will tell you that you need a proper High Court building. This So bar is too small, I can understand that, but in future, the number is going to increase. So far as independent High Court is concerned, that's a political decision over which I will not comment. It would not be appropriate for me to speak anything about it. So these are political decisions. These are your rights which you can pursue through different methods. For me as the Chief Justice of Assam High Court, which comprises Nagaland, Mizoram and Arunachal Pradesh, we take it as independent High Court. These are permanent benches, but we are sitting at Guwahati, I am, and my predecessors also were very careful in rostering, in stationing, for the reason that benches have to be dealt with carefully. So what I have decided is that every month I will be visiting these outlying high courts, and Nagaland is one of it. Separate high court is a desire for you to pursue, but at the moment, my belief is that with you associated with the principal seat of Guwahati, with other benches at 3 different states, I think you are more exposed to the ways of the world. Staying in a cloistered environment and looking only at yourself, which is a small little group, perhaps the growth rate would not be as much. Self-determination is a right which everyone exercises. That shall be exercised by you also. But let the appropriate time come. For this to happen in future, in remote future, you need to have a proper establishment for High Court. And it is only with this purpose that I had visited the building which is upcoming. And I had requested Mr. Sema, the Principal Secretary, and other persons associated, the architect, the chief engineer, the contractor, who has done a wonderful job, to be there. And I realized that the place was too big, involving a lot of expenses. I am not against a futuristic building which would cater to the future needs. But then considering the straitened financial circumstances, the difficulties of finance, which is not easily overcome, and it is the responsibility of the state and the center, we took a decision, and I would be wrong to say that we took a decision, we contemplated of taking a decision of scaling it down. Not demolishing anything which has been constructed, but scaling it down for the purposes of fitting the entire scheme in the budgetary provision. As it is, I'm told, a lot of money has been spent. The construction is about 95% complete. But furnishing and finishing is the most important aspect of a building. And for that, we have contemplated, we will be discussing it, not from this pulpit, but sitting across the table, we will be discussing it. Your leaders of the bar would be discussing it with you. We are only contemplating of limiting the space, the area for proper furnishing. And in this context, I would also seek your approval and support for the bar building. See, there is a multi-floored bar building which has come up there. Now, if you insist for that building to be clearly demarcated for the purposes of the bar, perhaps it will take in consultation with my brother and sister judges, and with the pragmatism that it requires to be handled with. So we'll be getting back to you through your leaders of the bar, elected representatives. And we would also like you to voice your particular opinion on this aspect. So this is with respect to building, the status of the High Court, and my dissent on what Mr. Jamil said, that Nagaland only has natural resources to boast of. So the third aspect which he flagged was senior designation. We call it SIG, awarding the SIG. That's something which is really important for the growth of the bar. Now we are conscious of it. There is a law, there is a judgment of the Supreme Court. We will be acting in accordance with it. We will be inviting applications. Suo motu is all right, but then because there are other bar members where they would be putting in their papers, they would be asking for them to be designated. So let us continue with the system under the statute, under the judgment of the Supreme Court. We will be asking for your applications, and we shall be vetting it. And thereafter, the procedure which is delineated, we will think about it. Let us have good number of senior advocates, deserving advocates. In fact, I was in the courtroom today, and I found the lawyers to be absolutely prepared with their briefs. I was very happy. Two of the lawyers are sitting here. Only there were 5 matters, 4 of them were tagged with the original matter. But I found that this is a place which has a lot of potential to grow. Small is beautiful. Please don't be under any illusion that this is a small bar or a small high court, small number of judges. Small is beautiful. You have heard of this concept of Hcba, the French philosopher. It was said in a different context, but here what I wish to convey to you is that with the institution being small and compact and cohesive, at this stage, I would call it an incipient, a nascent stage where you require to be trained, where you are required to be mentored, where you're required for a person, for a group of persons, for the bench to do the hand-holding for all of you. I think this size is reasonably good for all of you to prosper. Please don't have any illusions about you being small body. The last of it, what Mr. Jameel had pointed out, was designation. We are conscious of it. It is only fortuitous that you have only one judge from Nagaland because of the retirements. Not that Nagaland was ignored at any point of time. We had judges. We had Supreme Court judges from Nagaland Bar. They have done well. We are conscious with the retirement, one seat has fallen vacant, the other seat would fall vacant in future. And as a Chief Justice, I must assure you that I shall be taking personal interest in the matter. This would be another reason for me to visit you regularly so that I assess all of you. See, recommendation for being made a judge, it involves a very, very complex understanding of the bar and a very difficult process of selection. It is not very easy to say that Mr. X or Ms. Y is better than the other. Now, we require for judging, which is a different ballgame altogether, we have to see many aspects of the matter that you are not considered, that you are not selected, is not to be taken as you have not been considered. There are certain compulsions. The decision making has to be on many other aspects, more than merits. It has to take into, the decision makers have to factor in things like experience, performance, in different states, income tax returns, which is not applicable to yours, integrity. But how would integrity of an advocate would be measured, because it's not a government job. So all these aspects we take into account before we recommend names. And it is no great fun when you recommend names and it doesn't come through. So please don't feel disheartened or have a feeling of being left out if you are not selected finally. Because as I told you, the life of a lawyer is more vibrant, more challenging. It is a composite life where you approach the court in a very disciplined way, but you also build up the trust of the people. You make the society, you make justice accessible to people who need it most. Therefore, your importance in the civil society is as important as that of judges, and I would frankly confess and admit as well that it is more important than the judges. Judging is within the set parameters where the law is known. But you have to be you have to conjure up the arguments, you have to find out, you have to be compassionate, you have to be torchbearers. So, keeping this in mind, I urge as Chief Justice of this High Court. For all of you young advocates and even senior advocates to mentor the young advocates and the young advocates to be the torchbearers in the sense that you just don't have to argue your case before the court. You have to see that justice is accessible. You have to apply your mind, you have to apply yourself to the current law, and then you have to assist the court very diligently. That job is no less respectable, no less important. And unless you grow as lawyers, we would not grow as judges. So this is for you. I mean, this institution is required to be nurtured by you, assisted by us.
Nagaland TV, Sop Manulaga Awas. Watch us live on Geo TV and on your television sets as well. For Dimapu viewers, we are on channel number 994 in Global Chapter, and Kohima and Mokokchung viewers, switch to channel number 138 on Hornbill Digital. For all news and updates, follow us on Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, and Twitter.